My name is Eleanor McGraw, and my husband and myself own a farm called Springfield Farm in Apple Hill, Ontario, which is the southeasterly part of our province. And we are working our way to organic farming, but really interested and have sort of a good sense of what to do for agritourism, and have been operating an agritourist destination roughly since 2017, and we've owned our farm for 7 years. I feel that this project, it needed the assistance of an architect, and in 2018, I found your firm and yourself, Krista, by doing a Google search on barn preservation. We have 3 barns on our property, and the 3 barns are incredible examples of, architecture for over 100 and probably 20 years. It was the barn that was never my favorite, but has grown on me and is the one that's taken on a project. It's a drive shed, as it's often described. It has large open spaces, and it's about 40 by 60. I might be off on those dimensions. And we really thought this really lends itself, one, to bringing people into the farm and experiencing the architecture, because it's very open, and as well could lend itself to expanding into selling our own vegetables on site, and possibly even displaying some of my art or other people's art. So we had some ideas and a vision, as well as expanding the agritourism, and that, though, is anchored on the region and what's allowed and not allowed. I think I'm probably like a lot of your clients. I have a vision, and there's a building code. And I think while I now feel I'm well versed in the aspects of the building code, I've learned a lot in the sense that it possibly does not, in our layperson's term, take in the grandfathering aspect. And in fact, a barn on an agricultural piece of property, I think, is typically these days just lumped in with the building code that is for new barns, new builds. So that was a huge, sort of intellectual and academic area that we had to come to you with and ask for your expertise. One of the key components of our requirement to do this project was we had sent in an application for a grant and succeeded, but unfortunately we were not advised that anything that we wanted to do around the restoration and the expanding the use to agritourism was going to require a change of use. We still are not fully understanding of this, and I think that's something that lay people like ourselves need the guidance of your firm, and have thankfully found you so that you can help us navigate the waters of both the building code and the change of use, and how it impacts or how it could guide us in this decision-making process. So I think probably we're like a lot of your clients that here at Springfield Farm, we day-to-day love our buildings and day-to-day work in the fields. And we are trying to diversify our economic resources so that we can stay viable. And COVID has actually made it that much more difficult, especially around the areas of agritourism. So when we used your firm, I guess it was really to have some knowledge that gave us not only peace of mind that we were on the right track, but as well to understand some of the perspectives that, say, the building inspector had, or also, more importantly for us, how to talk and really help the township understand what we're doing. And I think that right now is one of the key things, is that we've received from you a very thorough report outlining all the aspects, and it's been really helpful and really almost heartening that we're on the right track. But we are happy to do this, not just for our family, but for generations to come and for visitors. So I think what your firm and you, Krista, have done is give us hope and the confidence to keep going. VELD architect firm has not only exceeded our expectations, but I want to say that from, the process of having to explain ourselves. I know that we're not versed in the language of architecture or building code. And I find sometimes that's a daunting process, and also can be a disconnect between hiring a firm and working with someone. And that's where I think working with your firm, and Krista, you specifically, patience was incredible. You allowed us to really sort of, I don't want to say vent, but provide you with a lot of background material. And you've really sort of sifted through that and provided us a succinct and a very helpful document. So thank you, and it far exceeded our expectations. I would say in this environment, we're really at the cusp of preserving barns. And if a farm is like us, wants to do that, I really actually, I wish in some ways, to be honest, that we had hired your firm from the get-go. And sometimes that's what happens. A problem jumps up and you need someone to help resolve it. And so we're fortunate in that way. But if I was to do this over again, to be honest, I would come to you first, and then have you help guide our engineer, and more importantly, help guide me in the language that we presented to the permit officer with our application, because I think that language was a disconnect, and that has sort of led to some of the issues that you're helping to resolve for us.